Casey Mushrush. Dr. Casey.
Just to you, Doug.
Got a question for you now. I'm 62, says Blaine, and recently went through a divorce that left me with some new debt I wasn't expecting. I know retirement's right around the corner, but I'm not sure if I should pause my retirement planning until I get this debt paid off or try to balance both at the same time. What's the smarter approach in my age?
Yeah, Blaine, this again is something that we're starting to see pop up quite a bit, especially in today's age. And really the first step is making sure that you understand exactly the type of debt you have and how much it is and how the divorce is going to end up affecting your income. So you have to recognize that you are shifting into this new financial paradigm. It's this new reality, and you have to figure out exactly where you're at and what you're going to be moving forward from. Really, when we look at this, it isn't uncommon at all. About half of divorcees actually find that they have some sort of new debt or maybe a larger share of debt than what they were expecting when they're coming out of a divorce situation. Now, keep in mind that not all debt is created equal. Credit card debt and a low fixed interest rate mortgage are not the same thing. So making sure that you understand what that rate is and what type of debt it is going to be very important in figuring out whether or not you should try to use that balanced approach that you hinted at or focus on paying down the debt as quickly as possible. Now, here's something that might surprise you a little bit. Alimony or a change in that income really can affect how both households occur, and it can actually, in fact, impact the income taxation, depending on the characterization of that type of income. So that is something that you might want to make sure that you understand as well, whether you're receiving the alimony or receiving child support payments, and how that may actually impact either the deductibility or the non-deductibility of those payments to you. Now, at age 62, you do have relatively short amount of time to keep building out your savings. So stopping the contributions completely could end up underfunding your retirement, depending on when it is that you're trying to retire. However, carrying that high interest rate debt can also have significant impacts on your future cash flow. So the balanced approach really would mean that you're keeping those essential retirement contributions, such as the 401k match or retirement plan matches, in place while focusing on the high interest rate debt simultaneously, or paying that down at the same time. Now, back over to the strategy. Once Blaine actually understands where he is really sitting at, he can back into the numbers, and that's really what we take a look at on our side. What are the minimum contributions that are needed to keep retirement on track? How much of the excess cash flow can be redirected over to the debt in order to pay that down as quickly as possible? And this really does allow us to create not necessarily an all or nothing approach, but really an and approach in order to try and make sure that you are working through a very methodical process. So the smartest approach really isn't about paying off debt or funding retirement on all or one. It's probably going to be some sort of a balanced approach. However, keeping in mind that that could change depending on the makeup and the type of debt that you have actually taken on as a part of the divorce.
Now, if you find yourself in a situation like Blaine is, and you want to go through this, because it's like their own fingerprint, okay? Everybody's got an individual one. Your financial situation is going to be different than the next person down the street or the next person down the street. Go to premieriwm.com, and you can request a meeting with any one of the folks, or you can also give them a call at 800-383-6590. Again, that's 800-383-6590. Premier Investments and Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Team.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Rebalancing a portfolio may cause investors to incur tax liabilities and/or transaction costs, and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Premier Investments in Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific, individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Team's ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firms. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.